We start off by watching the space police sending down their newest model of sweatshop workers to the land of white supremacy to go out and deliver pizza. Little did the Space Italian know, however, that secretly on the same exact planet was the entirety of the German army, who we see going back to their base after collecting some of the free cocaine right outside. Now in control of a blue trash can and a British robot, we're tasked with going and complaining to Indiana Jones about the whereabouts of Mark Hamill. But on the way, our little blue trash can collects an uncopious amount of drugs. Now that we can smell every color, Harrison Ford finally decides to go searching for Mark Hamill, where the game forces us to commit as many accounts of aggravated battery towards Italians as possible. Anyways, now that Indiana Jones has sent some racially motivated messages towards Italians on Twitter, he decides to finally hunt down Mark Hamill. Little was Harrison Ford expecting, however, that Mark Hamill was actually kidnapped by a League of Legends player, who after deciding to read the Bible, immediately just died. Right after escaping, Mark Hamill, who forgot to take his medication, gets on a Discord call with the Scot, who gives him instructions to go to Universal and find Shrek the Third. After a little bit of incest and breaking and entering, the German army once again find themselves under attack by a bunch of space Italians. After finding out the hard way that sending that tweet might have been a mistake, Indiana Jones, Mark Hamill, and the entirety of the German army now have to defend their funny snow planet from a bunch of extremely angry racist Italians. After killing my own men, committing a couple of war crimes, playing Madagascar for the GameCube, and then breaking a couple of kneecaps, we finally lose at winning. So instead of deleting his recent Twitter post, Indiana Jones, his pet dog, a British robot, and a German dictator all decide to just run. Little did they know that Dark Helmet from Big Brother 2 was right behind them. Fortunately, due to plot convenience, they get out just in time. But unfortunately, due to plot inconvenience, the ship that they were riding in was literally being held together by duct tape. After committing a little bit of vehicular manslaughter, Harrison Ford decides to hide in a giant rock. Anyways, now that we're back in control of Mark Hamill, we find ourselves traveling to Shrek's swamp so that we can go find Kermit the Frog. Unfortunately for Mark Hamill, he was a drunk driver and gently lands his ship in the middle of a giant lake. Now that the drugged out blue trash can and Mark Hamill were at the Shrek 4D ride in Universal, they go searching for Shrek the Third, but all they found was another crazy old homeless man. Little did he know, however, that the green crazy homeless man was actually Kermit the Frog, who immediately decides to show Mark Hamill the wonderful world of drugs and trained him to be equally as racist as his father before him. Little was Mark Hamill expecting, however, that he would soon be confronted by the racist and his pet Roomba. After watching Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, we cut back to Indiana Jones trying to escape the rock. After meeting up with the first black person ever, we decided to go eat at Arby's with him. Little were we expecting, however, that Quandale Dingle was actually more into Italian food. Now that we've been caught by the racist and turned into the world's most racist popsicle, the Black Klansman decides to help us. Now in control of a ruthless dictator, Billy December Williams, a British robot, and a walking dog, we make our way to try to escape from the racist Italians and Green Django Fett. After barely escaping with our heads, we cut back to Mark Hamill, who's having a mental breakdown. Deciding that Saturdays are for the boys, he goes out to try to go save his friends. Little was he expecting, however, to come face to face with the real racist, who throughout most of our battle is literally having a stroke. After a good amount of brain damage, game glitches, and prayers, we find ourselves defeating the racist by caving in his skull with a blue trash can. And yet again, somehow we still end up losing. Not only did Mark Hamill become Ash from The Evil Dead, but we also heard the biggest plot twist that nobody saw coming.
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
After hearing this information, Mark Hamill literally just decides to end it all. But due to his $650,000 contract and plot convenience, he was forced to stay in the Star Wars universe forever. And then we finally end our story.